Hi, I know this looks like a garden video. It's not, honestly. Well, it is my garden. This is my front yard. This is Dragon's Dovecote. It's also Dragon's Garden, but, hey, I'm talking about pigeons. As stated, this is a unusual location, but I'm standing on my porch because it's been pouring. And I'm not hiking all the way over to the loft to try to film a video when I could get really soaked any minute. So anyway, my birds are all still fine. The only problem we had was I found some insect problems in a corner of the loft because with my vertigo I wasn't being able to keep it as clean as I like to. So I've been working on cleaning up and treating everybody for feather mites and lice and bugs and all sorts of stuff. Something that normally you would do a couple of times a year anyway. Just because, you're not keeping them inside your house sealed away from all of the outside bugs. So they will pick up all sorts of bugs and insects, and the food is seeds, and you get bugs and insects coming after that too. So other than that, everything in the loft has been fine. I have not been fine. I've still been recovering. Trying to build my third loft, which is going to be needed for actually racing, because right now I don't have a controlled method to clock them in or let them out reliably, because what I started with was breeding lofts, which were intended for birds that couldn't go out. But they're all fine. Unfortunately, several other flyers have had problems. We have a loft, a mixed loft not too far from me that does a one loft race. And they had a whole lot of sick birds. You kind of expect that when you're bringing in birds from all over. You don't know where they're coming in from. You don't know what they've been exposed to. And it's just like, I said in another video, kids at kindergarten. Hey, come on in. Let's swap germs. This is why I wear a mask, because I don't want to swap germs with anybody except my husband, maybe. But pigeons cannot be trained to wear a mask. So they swap germs pretty thoroughly, and they also will get horrible, horrible things in their water. Ask anybody who's kept birds. But the end result of that is that the local loft that runs a one loft race basically had some very serious illness. They ended up losing some birds. They had some of them sent to the lab for a necropsy. Turned out that it was pretty well-known virus with Chlamydiosis as a backup infection. Now, unfortunately, the virus, which I wrote about on my page, and I'll type it into this on YouTube. I'm not going to try to remember how to say it or spell it or anything. It doesn't have a vaccine, unlike a lot of the other stuff we vaccinate our pigeons against. And it doesn't have an easy treatment. The main thing you can do about it is boost the pigeons' immune systems. Once they have it, most pigeons will throw it off if they're otherwise healthy, and if you can keep them from getting sick from the secondary problem, like the chlamydiosis. Now, chlamydiosis can be treated. Usually it's treated with doxycycline. As it is, the one loft person was already treating with other stuff, and they were getting better, so no point in treating them again. Doxycycline is an antibiotic. It will not help the virus, which was the primary problem. Now, the main thing you can do about that virus, because a lot of pigeons are carriers, and the main thing you can do about it is keep the water as clean as humanly possible. I know, we're talking about pigeons. Keep the water as clean as possible. Have massive amounts of ventilation. Basically treat it like you're trying to avoid a human getting sick. You can't teach them to wash their feet very often, and you can't teach them to wear a mask over their beak. and they're all eating together, so you're kind of stuck. What you've got left is air filtration. If you really want to be amazingly thorough about it, you'd get a far UV light for somewhere in the loft to help clean the air. I'm not up to keeping the dust levels down for that, but I have a HEPA filter, I have fans, I have all sorts of other stuff trying to run. I must be doing something right because my birds are okay. Could be just lucky. But generally keep everything as clean as possible. Feed them well, make sure they have their minerals. And since this is a virus, if they don't have a backup bacteria, giving them antibiotics isn't going to do anything. Now, in this case, the birds also had Chlamydiosis as something that was coming along on the tail coat of the virus, so the antibacterial treatment can work. For the virus, a lot of the stuff that we use is honestly the same stuff that I would tell you otherwise. Cinnamon and garlic in the water every now and then. By the way, there are a lot of people who tell me do not give garlic during the breeding season because it can apparently be very bad for eggs and very young pigeons. Since I personally am allergic to garlic, I don't use a lot of it. And that's because it's dangerous for me to handle. So I'm kind of repeating what other people have said. Cinnamon, I've used. Oregano oil, I've used extensively. You can't go wrong with oregano oil. There's a product that Frank McLaughlin has recommended, which is cinnamon and oregano oil. You mix it in with the water. I'd say go with that. Can't hurt, might help, seems to actually really help against this stuff. Other than that, loft hygiene, segregate out anybody that looks sick, quarantine new arrivals. Even if, anything else, and if somebody seems to be getting sick, you can try treating, if it looks like a bacteria, you can try treating for that, but your first step has to be hygiene, air filtration, really good diet, good minerals, and no matter what else, you want to add probiotic to the food and water, because if you're giving them an antibiotic, you just nuked their gut bacteria. And even if you're not, they're fighting a lot of stuff. All the support you can give them is good. Now, as stated, I am not dealing with this myself. However, since this is a local one loft race to me, I'm just assuming that it is out there, and that when we get to the races and my birds are actively mingling with other birds, that they are going to be bringing this home, and I'm going to be taking a proactive approach, making sure my air filtration is way up, and especially for my race team, that they are in some place where the droppings are going to drop straight through to the bottom, or that I have something drying things out there and sweeping up regularly. You just want to make sure that you're taking every step you can to keep your pigeons healthy. And usually you won't have to worry about this. Note that this came up in a one loft race that is local to me. By the way, if you did not get a notice about it, you're not involved in it. The reason I know about it is because I have birds there. I got a notice. My birds are being healthy. It's fine. But that is that, and that is my update for Dragon's Dovecote, and you get a look at my garden. Have a good day. Please like, subscribe, all that stuff. Thanks.